welcome to the podcast, Can You Take My Shift? Your favorite coworkers are off the clock and back for another episode.
Hi, and welcome back to the podcast starring Kelsey and Amy. And this week's podcast is sponsored by The Will to Live. You too can have the will to live for only $12.99 each month. So if you just want to click the link in our bio down below to save 10% off, you too will enjoy the will to live. Why are we coming to you on a... That's a great question.
Keep asking questions.
Stay curious, my friends. No, we are coming to you live on a Monday because we were supposed to record on the Wednesday because our friends were flying in on the Thursday. And for those of you who do not care to know, because if you care, you know, I am engaged.
Yeah, we had a whole episode about it.
Exactly. So you should know this. And I had my engagement party this weekend, and we had lots to do. So unfortunately, we could not record the podcast. Amy and I had to go to Walmart and pick up so many 2 liters of pops, but we couldn't get a cart. This was the most annoying thing, is they still have the coin carts, but I don't know the last time I have carried cash.
Yeah, I honestly think I might have like a couple quarters in my wallet, but I don't use cash anymore.
Yeah. So we couldn't have a cart. So we were carrying these 2 liters, both in each with a basket, and they didn't even have the rolling baskets. We had just the regular carried ones. And I was struggling. I don't want to put words in your mouth, Amy, but I was like, I need to up my weight at the gym because I'm struggling.
Yeah, it was a little rough at some point. You're like, you good? I was like, we just have to find a place to put these down and get to the checkout.
Yeah, and then we get to the checkout, and this guy starts screaming at security, and we're like, we haven't been in a Walmart in a while.
Yeah, it was very odd. We don't know exactly what the situation was. My best guess is it was a undercover security guard who it was his probably first couple weeks on the job because he was not doing a good job in being sneaky.
No.
So the guy got obviously very upset and annoyed. Reasonably so. Like, if you're doing something sketchy, that's on you. Someone's obviously gonna catch you, but you gotta be sneaky. Your whole job is to be undercover. Yeah. It's in your job name.
Yeah, no, he blew his cover very easily.
He did. So then it was a huge screaming match, and we were maybe like 6 feet away from it.
Oh yeah, we were like, great.
Okay. And it was very awkward because this fight was going on, and this poor Walmart worker was coming back from her break, and she opened up her till, and we were like essentially the next person in line, and she just kind of like, I look over to make eye contact with her, and she looks over at the people, and then she looks back at me and looks back over at the situation, and she just like waves us over, and I'm like, Kelsey, go. We're going to check out now.
Yeah, we gotta get out of here. Oh. No. But then we had my engagement party this weekend. Mm-hmm. And it was very fun. It was very great. Only a few things went wrong, so it's okay. My grandmother did get COVID, so she couldn't come, so that happened. We had a giant windstorm, which knocked down a bunch of trees, which fucked up one of the roads, but it's fine. Everybody still got there. Yeah. But overall, wonderful party. And your girl felt very celebrated. Although I was having a great, so the party was, we partied for 12 hours because the party started at 1 and it went until late. And I think I went to bed at 1. But so Amy and I have partied probably more in the past 2 weeks than we have in a while.
Yep.
Yeah. So the alcohol was flowing, and I can remember the exact point of my engagement party where that was my last drink that I should not have had because and I don't remember going to bed. So Trevor's aunt brings out this big bottle of expensive champagne and she's like, "You guys got to do it. You got to pop it. Well, this is a perfect occasion." So we pop it. I drink, everyone does the champagne toast, and then our friend decides to fill up my champagne glass all the way to the top. And I don't remember what happened after that.
Yep. I was feeling pretty good up until the not alcohol, the champagne came out, and then I only had a little tiny one.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was told some things being like, "Amy, you didn't want to get in the Uber home." And I was like, "Oh." I remember being in the Uber. They're like, "Yeah, we were sitting waiting for you in it because you refused to come." And I was like, "Oh, I'm very sorry."
Yeah.
So
No, Trevor, because apparently I fell asleep on the couch, and Trevor was trying to get me downstairs because we were staying the night at the place, and Trevor's like, "Just come to bed." No, I'm gonna sleep here. And then he was like, and he was like, "You were wearing so much jewelry, and I was trying to get it all off you."
that's a good fiance.
Yeah, but we had a lovely, lovely time. And you know what? As our wonderful podcast listeners, I'm sure you understand. And so we are here for you on a Monday because we are still here for you.
We are.
Yeah, we are very busy gals, but we still care. We still make time for you.
Yeah, we make it work.
Mm-hmm. But I don't think I have anything else to report. I think since we last talked, we have been so busy with this engagement party and Halloween. Also we had a great Halloween. Did we talk about Halloween? I don't know if we have. Did we talk
Just
about it?
that we got very drunk in my
Oh yeah. And got the balloon artist was fantastic.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to convince Kelsey and Trevor to have a balloon artist at their wedding, and it's not going well. So
It doesn't fit the theme.
doesn't. I'm sorry. Does a balloon artist? A balloon artist always fits the theme, and you know why? Because the balloon artist can make you anything you want, and they can make those balloons to fit the theme.
Then hire the balloon artist for the bachelorette party.
Okay, I'll figure it out.
I would much rather a balloon artist than strippers for my bachelorette party.
Oh yeah, this we know. This we know.
Yes. So I don't know if any of our listeners watch Love Is Blind. I'm sure they do. At least I know Becca does.
Yes.
Yes, because Amy watches it with Becca, but I watch it on my own, and then we all discourse. I usually watch it when I'm at the gym, and like sometimes I'll be like, it's really encouraging because when one of the men does something stupid, I'm like, how
It's a good motivator.
Yeah.
How dare you? I can now do 10 more push-ups. Like,
yeah, I can go a little bit faster on the elliptical, you stupid ass Bartise. But so they always have a bachelorette and a bachelor party in the show, and for the bachelorette this year, they decided to take the girls to a strip club,
which was a very interesting choice.
Because last season they took them out on like a boat cruise.
Yeah, and that seemed really fun. I kept saying this to Becca too. Our Love Is Blind will be a quick tangent, but it felt like the budget this season was a lot lower than last 100%. Season, because the first 2 seasons I think they got to go to Mexico for their honeymoons. This season they just went to LA. They did a retreat in LA, which honestly might have been the same cost as Mexico, because like LA is just stupidly expensive for that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, it was in Malibu, so I think honestly Mexico would have been cheaper.
Yeah. I also wonder too, because those first 2 seasons were filmed during COVID, so I wonder if they had to get around some like weird laws or something. Anyway, besides the point, that's a whole different story. This season, they had a boat cruise for the bachelorette, and then for the bachelors, last season they got to go to the Chicago, is it Cubs?
Yeah, the Chicago Cubs stadium.
Yeah, they got to go and like play baseball in the Chicago Cubs stadium. And this season, the men got to go to a cattle show, or
they went to a rodeo.
Sorry, a rodeo. There are cows there.
Yeah,
and I know this season was in Texas, but like,
Oh yeah, like where the budget was drastically cut this season because we've already seen last season all the weddings were in different venues. This season they're in the exact same venue.
Yeah, which is also very strange. Also, we're not going to talk about spoilers or anything because
Yeah.
we are a spoiler-free place, but
because the first season all the weddings were in the same venue, and then I feel like they had a mid-sized budget for the first season. They got a bigger budget for the second season, but I feel like the third season they've slashed the budget. But like this show is doing so well. I guess my weirdest favorite movie is Mad Max Fury Road is one of my favorite movies.
that checks out. That checks out.
But yeah, because it's actually like it's a beautiful feminist film.
Mm-hmm.
But we're like, oh, cars, but like, oh, I could go on about it. But that's not what this episode about. This is not Kelsey's movie review.
This episode, in case you didn't clue into the pretty good segue, it's about personal branding and making choices that fit you.
Yes, I've done some better segues. That one was like a mid-tier segue. But yes, this episode we're talking about personal branding and what. So
welcome to our seminar of personal branding and you.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So it's very interesting. So we watched a documentary last night that was about a celebrity sex cult. And of course Gwyneth Paltrow had endorsed it at one point.
Of course
she had. And this woman had been on multiple TED Talks, and we were watching this with our friends, and he goes, so wait, do they just give like anybody a TED Talk? Yeah.
And apparently they do, or these people, I think what happens with TED Talks is TED Talks come from a power of influence. If you are somebody that has a very influential voice or influential perspective, that's where they come from. I've watched a decent amount of TED Talks.
Yeah. So Gwyneth Paltrow promoted this woman and her book, and then this woman had a basically mate her. She started off, it was called, I don't want to get too raunchy here, but like this is all like public info. It was called oming. You can look it up what that means. The cult was called One Taste.
Yes. You can look up this cult on your own. It was very much, it started off as like, it seemed a little bit more like a women empowerment, really get in touch with your like sexual desires kind of thing, and that's how it was sold. And then it turned weird.
Turned weird and very dark and very disgusting, and all the bad things you assume it went to. Yeah. Including like they did do some satanic rituals.
They did. They never sacrificed anybody, but
no. Yeah. If you don't have your own virgin to sacrifice, store-bought is fine.
Store-bought is fine.
Yeah. And Gwyneth Paltrow, she endorsed this woman, and it made sense for Gwyneth's brand because we all know Goop, and Goop she literally said you should stick jade eggs up your vagina. So it didn't surprise me that she endorsed this woman, but it also, so I'm sure she stopped talking about this woman after all the terrible stuff came out, but Gwyneth Paltrow, being Gwyneth Paltrow, never had to apologize for endorsing this woman because that is her brand. She will recommend things that are not well researched. I never watched the Goop Lab show on Netflix because I did not want to give it any numbers.
No.
Because I was like, no, you should not have this. You should not be spending. They literally, I saw a clip where they were like, oh, we're doing a wellness exorcism. And I'm like, what?
That's not a thing.
That's not a thing.
That's not a thing.
Like I have such it's just like it's back to misinformation. And with her personal brand, people just don't expect her to apologize. And so she just kind of gets away with it. And I think that what comes down, that's kind of a smart thing, but it's also, it's smart of her brand, but also I personally would never trust a word that comes out of that woman's mouth. But I am not her target audience.
No. You are not. Yeah, this conversation that we're talking about today, weirdly enough, just stems from, we'll get into it in a moment, just kind of figuring out, especially like small influencers. There's a very big difference nowadays between like a celebrity influencer like Kim Kardashian, who back in the day, it might not have been Kim, but it would have, I think it was one of her sisters, was talking about those diet teas.
Oh, Chloe.
Yes, Chloe talked about the diet teas. And Chloe never apologized for it. But it was something at the time that fit into her brand. And it was literally promoting diuretics to young adults. And it comes down to a certain point where sometimes companies you really, really like can maybe put out a product that you don't necessarily agree with, or like you want to be partnered with a brand. And if you're as a small influencer, if you're partnered with a brand, you're partnered with them because A, you like their product, B, you believe what they stand for, C, miscellaneous reasons. I don't know. Something else that just
D, you gotta pay the bills.
Exactly. Like at the end of the day, everyone needs to make money somehow. And as this will come up a lot, there's no ethical consumption under capitalism. We all know this, and it eats away at us. I mean, it eats away at me every single day when I make a purchase. I'm like, damn it, they got me. But it happens. We're humans. And there was a little bit of a conversation I had earlier this week with my partner. Hello. I know you're listening and watching. About this brand of energy drinks, an energy drink company called Gamer Sups, and essentially they're like a powdered energy drink, different flavors, very similar to a brand that we've talked about before called G Fuel, and we did talk about before. G Fuel got into some controversy earlier this year. They fired their PR staff, and to this day, still has not addressed it. And at that time, a lot of personal, or a lot of like, a lot of smaller influencers, streamers, all that stuff, pulled their G Fuel sponsorship because this is not a brand that they could stand for anymore. Which, understandable. Some people switched to a different brand. Some people just decided to just stop promoting them in general. And some people stayed partnered with them because of certain reasons, is like they have to pay the bills, but all they did was like their paid sponsorship that they had to do. And at the end of the day, like if it was still a product that they used every single day and they're not like fully going out of their way to promote it unless they absolutely had to, like at that point it turns to like your personal moral grounds, and you can't really go and bully the person because you don't know their situation. But I feel like I'm going all over the place with this. Anyway, the company Gamer Sups put out a flavor of energy drink called titty milk. And when I was talking to Beck about this, they're like, oh yeah, they put out this flavor, and I'm like, I'm sorry, they did what? So I went to look it up, and you can go to their Twitter, to their Instagram, and it was the CEO of this company. The CEO made his flavor called titty milk. And he has a whole campaign about how the way that it looks, the way that it tastes, he literally sent it to people because if you were to make the beverage, it's a milky color that kind of looks like something. I don't want to say the word. It looks like something. I don't know. I don't know. It
looks like cum.
There you go. Kelsey said it, not me.
Yeah.
It looks like cum. And he literally ran the whole ad campaign being like, it's not. This is not what it is. And
but I wanted to make a drink that looks like
yeah. Like, we're not making this. It doesn't even look like this. It doesn't taste like this. The flavor is blue raspberry.
Which is an interesting choice. But the fact that we have made raspberry flavored blue.
Yeah. It's kind of like there's that like Gatorade flavor. That's well, like that milky color too.
Yeah. Well, because I guess they were trying to get away from a strawberry, right? So they're like, oh, well, we don't want to do raspberry, but it's also red as well. I don't know. We'll just make it blue. Like the origins of blue raspberry make no sense, but they make sense at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, like the flavor description of this drink just says, from 17 variations, we chose an elegant blue raspberry flavor and paired it with a natural milk flavor to give you a refreshing GG with an ever so slight dessert-like quality for maximum compliance factors and long-term drinkability. And they do say it does not contain milk. But like the branding for this was essentially not everybody's cup of tea. And it, like, on the container, it has like an anime man who is shirtless, you know, totally ripped and jacked. And there's some, you know, anime women with big boobs beside him being like, you know, like, not exactly like hentai, but like bordering on that audience. And there was like people talking about it being like, I'm partnered with this brand and I don't want to be partnered with them anymore because I think that this certain campaign could be essentially disrespectful towards women, towards people who breastfeed, things like that. And at that point it becomes like, in my brain it becomes like a moral and like a marketing and a business dilemma. Because it's like, you're putting out this flavor, you know it's going to be weird and people are going to talk about it. You're doing it for those kind of effects. But are you really worried that people might stop supporting you for doing this?
I mean, controversy is the best seller. Like, controversial marketing works. It has been proven again and again to work. Like, even with the whole Try Guy scandal, their numbers were never higher.
Yep.
Like, they did not do that. They did not want to do, like, they did not want all that. But yeah, controversy works.
It really does. And I mean, even on their Twitter bio, they literally say the official and energy drink of shit posting. So, I mean, if you're going to sign up for a brand.
But that's the thing.
It's so hard.
Yeah. So I've seen the guy who created the brand before. Trevor's watched his videos. And it makes sense for his brand. It 100% makes sense. And if he wants, you know, people to promote his brand, if you look at all his friends, yeah, it makes sense for those people to be promoting it. I think as a gamer, you have to decide, all right, so yes, this is a gamer product, but are you like a wholesome, you know, friendly, cozy gamer? Then maybe you don't promote titty milk. Right? Like, let's be honest here. Like, you wouldn't see, if I think of a wholesome, family friendly gamer, I think of like Little Simsy.
Yeah.
She's not going to be promoting it.
No.
But she knows, but that is her brand because, like, I am not family friendly.
No.
So I don't care. I'm not family friendly. I have a family and I am friendly to them, but my channel is not family friendly.
No. Like, I have, you know, like the warning when you watch, like, you have to, by clicking this, like, you say you're 18. And obviously, like, not everybody has that. Not everybody has to have that. But when you're partnered with a company, sometimes it sucks, especially like if you're partnered with them, you weren't in charge of making this decision at all. And obviously before this, they have these cups, like shaker cups that are called waifu cups. I don't know how long they've been doing them for. It seems like it's been a while now, but they're cups with hentai anime style women.
The thing is, because I looked into this a little bit more, and the cups came out with the release. Like, I think for people to not know the product, so if this company comes to you and it's because it's an influencer product, you look up 5 seconds of this influencer's content, and it's not family friendly. So if you're worried about the whole titty milk being family friendly, like, the guy was never family friendly in the first place.
Yeah, it's hard.
That for me kind of goes back on them not doing your own. If you care that much about it, you have to do your own due diligence and research. That's kind of on you.
Yeah. Exactly. And like it gets hard because like maybe you're like, oh, like it's not that fine, or there's people obviously in your audience that also know about this person and are like cool with their product, but there could be an even like larger majority who aren't.
Yeah.
So at that point, it just really comes down to what you want to do as a creator. Like, there were a good amount of people that after everything happened with G Fuel, some of them went back and partnered with them, but it was like, they explained it just being like, I have like a family to feed. At the end of the day, like, I do like their product. Unfortunately, at the moment, like, yes, their business model sucks, but like, it sucks to have to sit here every day and like, if they have like a stash of G Fuel products that even if they're trying to go through, you know, and if someone's like, hey, what are you drinking? You can't just be like, oh, like, it's just some energy drink. Because, again, people on the internet suck and might, like, continue to hound you.
Yeah.
So, it's all, I don't know, it's all, like, very personal. But to say, like, this could be, like, disrespectful to certain people, I think is a bad take.
Yeah, I think it is highly a bad take because we as humans, as living, like, if you've watched The Good Place, there's this whole character called Doug Forsett, how he tries to live his life as perfectly as possible so he'll get into the good place. And he realizes almost everything you do can negatively affect someone else. So, like, he would only eat one type of vegetable because it was like the least harmful to everything on the planet. Like, he walked everywhere. He stepped on a snail and had to walk from, what was it, like Edmonton to Winnipeg to
Oh,
bury
yeah,
it.
it's very, yeah.
Yeah. Cuz right, like, look around you. There's a bunch of things probably, Amy, in your room. No, there is a bunch of things in your room right now made by child labor.
Oh, yeah. Same with
Yeah.
your, like, our
Same
phones
with this
are.
room. Yeah. So, I think what comes down to your morals, it's if you are running, if you are an influencer, your face is your business. And there is and you have to be, one, able to sleep at night, but two, feed your family. And you kind of have to find a middle ground, right? Because there is some, when especially younger influencers, when they start out, a lot of them will just take anything and everything,
Yes.
and they won't know how much to ask for. When you get older and more seasoned, you figure it out. And like, some people that people like have made mistakes. And if you make mistakes and you own up to them, I don't think that, I mean, depending on what your mistake is, if you make a small mistake and you don't own up to it,
Yes.
yeah.
And obviously, there's inexcusable mistakes that are very, obviously, those are very different. That's not what we're talking about at all. But it's like NFTs, there was the huge boom, and like every single celebrity seemed to be supporting it. Like, I remember like Brie Larson was doing it, Reese Witherspoon, Dolly Parton. Like,
Yeah.
we were so upset by this, and it sucks, to see. But at the end of the day, like, I don't know, like, I'm gonna listen to 9 to 5 on my phone. Like, there's only so much you can fully do as like a moral human being.
So, and I think you're trying to pick partnerships for your brand. Obviously, the bigger you are, the more selective you can be.
Yep.
But the smaller you are, you kind of have to decide, is this, you have to, because what you are is you're selling yourself basically as a billboard. Right. So, because we do that every day. For example, if you buy clothing that has the brand name big, you're just paying the company to be an advertisement for them, which
You
is
are.
like kind of why I hate clothes that say
Like,
that say
like back in the day, it was huge to have like Hollister on your chest or like
yeah, or Gap.
Abercrombie. Yeah,
Yeah,
Gap.
and I always hated that because I was like, I am not a walking billboard. Like, I am wearing pants that say Under Armour on the side, but because they've been thrown in the dryer so many times, it's all peeling off.
Oh yes, you wouldn't even know.
And I'm happy. I'm like, get it off.
Yeah.
Because I am not paying to be a billboard.
Yeah. And fun fact,
But
a lot of the times, personal branded clothing or like company branded clothing is going to be cheaper at a store than unbranded because they can sell it to you. It seems more enticing, and then it's free advertising.
exactly. But for me, with the whole G Fuel titty milk thing, I know the brand is not titty milk. That is just the one flavor. Would we would we would we be more likely to promote let's say Amy, G Fuel, and was it Gamer
Sups.
came to us, and they're both offering the exact same amount of money for our brand. What do you think we would do? Would we take one, take the other, or take neither?
I think for our personal brand as a podcast, neither makes sense. But if I had to choose one,
yeah, our personal brand, yes. But neither of them make sense.
No.
If we are going to promote anything caffeinated, we should be promoting coffee.
Yeah.
Because we drink lots of coffee. Our picture, like our promo picture, has us wearing coffee aprons. We've talked about working at a coffee shop. That makes sense for our brand. So, for example, an influencer coffee brand is Emma Chamberlain's coffee.
Yep.
If they offered us a sponsorship, let's say G Fuel and Titty Milk Company offer us $100, and Chamberlain Coffee offers us $50. Yes, we could take them more money, but in the long run, the $50 will probably end up giving, if it is where they give you a code and you get a certain percentage of your sales, we would make more money with the coffee company
Exactly.
than we would with the energy drink companies. And that's what you kind of have to think about for your personal branding. And for us, if we have to just choose between the two energy drinks, our morals go more with the Gamer Subs company, because we've talked about it, we're not family friendly. Like, we will swear on our channels. We will say the word sex. Ooh. Like, obviously we are not we're not like call her daddy.
No.
But it's a part of adult life. So I don't shy away from those topics because it's a part of adult life. Like, I'm not going to tell you about my fun adult times in detail, because again, this is not that kind of podcast.
No.
But I wouldn't tell you in detail about every food I eat, because this is not a food podcast.
It really.
I was just gonna make a joke, but go ahead.
No, make your joke. Make your joke.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, oh, I had a wonderful brioche bread with a nice chocolate mousse spread on top, and then it was sprinkled with so much excellence.
Oops, like, did you just have like toast?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what that sounds like.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I made some breaded chicken with rice and some basil on top. You made chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay. we don't gotta sugarcoat it here. We know what you did. Yeah, I think that's what it really just comes down to, is like personal branding, and then just kind of knowing how much you can like push your morals. Like, as far as I've seen, minus like the titty milk and like the waifu drops of like their cups, their brand seems fine. Like, one of their flavors is with that guy who did the emotional damage TikTok noise.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's one of the flavors. They also have a ridiculous flavor called like guacamole gamer fart 9000. Like, we already know that this yeah, this is this brand. Like, so it's a lot, right?
Yeah.
Like, this brand is over the top, and they know it. Like, the other flavors they have, those like pina colada, strawberry daiquiri, misfits melon. Like, it's the other one's just blue.
Okay, I like that. Blue.
So obviously, like, these are like the newer flavors. So if you partnered with them early, just thinking that you were gonna get something as crazy as like gamer farts, okay, sure. And then they didn't put out titty melt like a week ago, so you're in your right to be like, oh shoot, you know, maybe this isn't the brand for me. But if you're gonna like sit here now and be like, oh, like, how dare they do this kind of thing. Like, I'm not okay with it. No, that's not cool because obviously this marketing just isn't for you. There's lots of marketing that is just not for me. And I think people sometimes think that they're entitled to a lot of things, which you're not. It's the internet. There's so many companies. There's so many companies out there.
Yeah. And I mean, if you're very much like a wholesome person, like, and I understand if that's not your brand, that's fine, but it's not really that offensive. I grew up going to this bubble tea shop that I loved. Like, I still try to go there when I go back to my hometown. And they had a long list of drinks and they gave them all wacky names. Like, my two favorite drinks were it was called Sex with a Horny Old Man, Swamp Thing, and Zombie Strippers. Those were my three favorite bubble teas.
Oh.
And I was ordering those as a 15-year-old. Yes, can I get one Sex with a Horny Old Man, please? Yes, 15-year-old Kelsey was ordering this, and it was a good bubble tea. Oh, and I'll get it with strawberry coconut jellies. Thank you. No tapioca.
Exactly. It's like there's a sushi place we like to go to that has like an S&M roll.
Yeah.
Like
their menus used to say "me so horny."
Yeah, they sold thongs at their restaurant. Like,
we went there yesterday and there was a child in there, and there's like it's like a family restaurant too, and like the child was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just it depends on what it is for you. And you can have these moral dilemmas. It's fine. It's good to talk about them. But it's talking about them critically, and like personal choices are a lot different than like business choices. Like, you can criticize big businesses because it's a lot easier to. Like, trying to think of okay, if you think about like Yeezy and Gap, right? Like, that was a partnership that like 100% fell through for very good reasons, and it didn't continue because, you know, not unfortunately, Kanye made some very awful remarks and everyone just decided to drop him, as they should. But that's like a very, very like big, large situation. So this on like a lot of a smaller situation where at the end of the day, it's probably like really not going to affect you. Like, if you're with this brand and you just like want to talk about titty milk, you just go, oh, like, it's not my favorite flavor, but I like this one. You know, like, you can brush it off as long as like morally, like, that's okay.
Yeah, I think if you just don't want to say it, you can talk to the representative, be like, yeah, I'll just say like they have brand new flavors, including blue. Like, just pick a other flavor. Unless they're very specific, we want you to say titty milk must promote only titty milk.
You must drink it on camera for us. like
Exactly.
something weird.
Yeah, but if it's
when you're doing influencer marketing, it is hard because you are only given, like, you can only give them so much to work with. And at the end of the time, if you're running out of time, if you need to get things out by a certain time, like, if this sale only runs for like 2 weeks, if you're running out of time to get that ad out, sometimes you're stuck with what you got.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, is that ad that bad? No. But to me, I keep seeing it so much, and it just makes me so angry that with small influencers, you also have to make sure like there is a return on investment, because brands will drop you.
Oh yeah, they 100% will. And you have to be putting out a good product if you want to continue to get business, but that is business in a nutshell. Like, it's business 101, right?
Exactly.
You don't give people dog poop and expect them to come back.
Cards against. Yes.
Because it's their brand. And people know this, and that is branding.
Ooh.
Like, I know, exactly. But that is the thing. And I think with personal branding, you also want to attract the type of brands that you want to promote, right? Because you're only attracting shitty brands, and it's like you want like companies that I would want to work with. I'm trying to think. What is something that I use all the time that I love?
Skincare, makeup.
Oh yeah, like skincare, makeup.
If ColourPop came to you, want to give you PR box.
Yeah,
The dream.
I absolutely. Or like, I don't know if Fujifilm still does advertisements because I don't know if like these are still popular, but like I still love taking Polaroids so much. Like I pump them out. It's a fun product and I love Polaroids.
Fair.
I think they're cute. Like, or I don't know, even though like you may like something, if your audience doesn't know it, it won't make any sense to them.
Exactly, yeah. Like I would love if Starbucks wanted to sponsor me for their holiday drinks. I go crazy for a good peppermint mocha in the winter. Like, yes, please. I'll do a cute little come get Starbucks with me video. Like, please. This sounds
But
great.
yeah. But a thing that would make sense for you is if BMW wanted to sponsor you with a Mini Cooper. Amy loves Mini Coopers. Does she have her license?
No, it would just be sitting in a stall. I do
Yeah.
love Mini Coopers, but
Yeah.
I mean,
Your
maybe
audience
you know
would be
what?
confused.
BMW, you sponsor me, I'll go get my license. Sponsor me getting my license and then giving me a Mini Cooper. There you go. That's one way.
Yeah.
Mini Coopers are cute.
Exactly. We are not that big though.
No.
That's not happening anytime soon.
No, I feel like I'd have a better chance getting like a free Tesla from somebody before a Mini Cooper.
Oh God. Do we want to talk about what's going on with Twitter to end
Not.
this episode?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, we can talk about it another time. We'll have to see how the descent into madness is going.
Yeah, I think we have to see the if he's getting his return on investment with Twitter.
Yeah. But you know what? Why it's not going well? Because Twitter is not his brand.
No, Twitter's not Elon Musk's brand.
It didn't make sense for him to buy it. He fucked up the whole thing and it was a terrible brand. It was a terrible investment choice because the company doesn't make any profit.
Oh.
No, so it was a terrible investment choice and it was a terrible personal investment choice because it's doing nothing positive to his brand. It's only doing negative.
Exactly. Oh.
Mhm.
That'll be a topic for a while from now.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think the moral of this episode is know what you're about, son.
Do your brand research. Do the people who
Yeah.
own your brand research if you're that worried at the end of the day.
Mhm.
And at the end of the day, like, it ain't that deep.
No.
Go drink your titty milk. It's okay.
Yeah, it ain't that deep.
It ain't that deep.
Yeah.
What's on personal brand for me is messing up the outro. So here we go. But thank you guys so much for listening, or if you watch this episode, thank you so much for doing both. We very much appreciate it. We are usually live on Twitch the first and third Thursdays of every month, and then the episodes come out on streaming platforms the second and fourth Thursdays of every month. You can find us on Twitter at CYTMS Podcast, and then you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Can You Take My Shift. You can find us on YouTube, which is where the video recordings of these are held, at Can You Take My Shift. And if you'd like to watch us there, please make sure you're subscribing to the channel and liking the video. We really appreciate that. You can listen to our lovely, lovely, lovely voices on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor. Essentially, wherever you can find podcasts, you can find us. You can find Kelsey at Kelsey Peets on Twitter and Instagram, and on Twitch at Bolin_KP. And you can find me, Amy, at Shelly Amy on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. Oh, until next week. Wow, I don't think I actually messed that up. So not on brand. But until next time, Kelsey, can you take my shift? This is an ASMR.
On brand for me would be a snappy retort or a bit, but you know what? I'm just tired.
That's fair.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system.